All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope everyone enjoyed um, their 1 month off, or so far. I know I have gotten a lot of rest. So, we have a lot of things to cover. If you have to go, I am recording this webinar, but I had already sent information earlier to everyone's inboxes, so you already have all the information that I'm going to go over. So, this webinar is going to be more like a preview, not a preview, but a review of the information, and I'm hoping to take on a lot of questions. Um, Most importantly, every year, um, every year that we start Track My Speed, we get better. About maybe 5 years ago, we had maybe 10 issues, and now this year we only have two that we're worried about, or that we're making adjustments, some things that we're changing. So for all those parents that are new, expect to see changes this year, and then going into 2018 into 19, there'll be more changes. So every year we strive to improve and get better, but every time we get to another level, we deal with issues on this level, and then once we take care of those issues, we get to another level, and it just keeps going on and on and on. Um, but most importantly, I just want everyone to stay patient and to continue to stick together and keep moving forward. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a screen share. Let's see, where am I going? Here we go. All right, so I'll be covering information from this webpage. So once you make your subscription online, everything that you'll need to know for Track My Speed this month will be on this page. Now I got here from the information tab. So up at the right hand corner, it says I hover over information, and then I can click on Carmel, or I can click on Lyle. What I did was I clicked on Lyle. Now as of right now, um, if you haven't subscribed to Track My Speed this month, you will not have access to this page. But once you do, you'll be able to see everything. So, but in this webinar, I'm giving you an insight of what the page looks like and what it entails. So right away, you'll see that there's a map that's showing you where we are in the CrossFit gym, where we'll be training for the Lyle location. If I were to go to, actually, I clicked on Carmel, but right now we don't have, Kendall still has to send me the address for Carmel, and then it'll show up here at the top. But for now, we'll stick to Lyle. We'll keep switching back and forth. I also added announcements. So one of the things that I focused on, like this summer, towards the end of the summer, I started talking to parents and asking questions like, okay, what are some ways that we can improve, or what are some challenges that you've had, with Track My Speed over, this past summer. And a lot of it was communication, not so much communication, but like trying to, like, information. I guess that's communication at the same time. And I get that. That's going to be an ongoing issue, because track, it's always have moving pieces. Like track never stays still. So we just got to be ready to like make adjustments. One of the things that I want to do is focus on communicating better, and we've already have we don't use mass text that much. I try to stay away from emailing a lot, because at some point I can send emails and emails. If I email every parent every time there's an issue, your inbox would be flooded. So what I try to do is minimize my emails by sending them all at once in one email, and then outline with links, and that way I put the information in your hands. Going forward, what we want to do now is start making announcements, but we're going to be making announcements to the parents and the athletes that it only pertains to. So if you're in a Lyle location, you will only see the announcements that are in Lyle. If you're in Carmel, you will only see the information that's in Carmel. On that note, too, before I go on, I mean, the rest is just the general information. So the general information is the outline that I'll be using for this webinar, and then practice schedules, and then we have more webinars. So this is it. So we're only going to go over the number 1, number 2, and number 3. So what does the future look like for Track My Speed? If we fast forward to the summer and work our way backwards, I know for the Lyle location, which will be the location that I will be responsible for, is I'm not adding any athletes on for the summer. So, but the Indiana group would always continue to add on athletes. I'm in Lyle, in Illinois, I'm stopping my roster after October 3rd. And then I'm going to roll with that. Next summer, I'm not looking for a big group. If I have 5 athletes, that'd be cool. If I have 10, that's great. If I have 20, that's great too. So Illinois is not looking to expand. I'm not looking to expand Illinois any larger than what it is by the time October 3rd. Now, over in Indiana, I will be shifting a lot of my focus towards in Indiana, and I'm looking to grow Indiana more. So I'm excited about that. If we go into the high school season, working our way back, and we'll cover this too later during a practice schedule, is during a high school season, I know I do, in the payment policy, I did say there were some one-on-one sessions I'll be offering and also small group rates. As far as I'm concerned, that's going to be, how do you say that, less likely that I'll be available. And then I know in Illinois, during the high school season, Track My Speed is pretty much shutting down. But also in Indiana, though, Kendall will be taking on one-on-one sessions and small group sessions. Now, backing up to January and December, I'm looking to have a much more explosive competitive season because we have a lot of seniors that need to hit certain times so that they can receive scholarship money. Also in January and December, facilities will be challenging, but we're going to have to make that work, and we always do. But we'll talk about that closer once we get there. Now that brings us to October. October, when was that cutoff date? Yeah, I believe the cutoff date is October 3rd. I guess for the month of September, I'm using the month of September to get the current athletes, up and running. But then I'm also looking for more athletes to join by October 3rd for Illinois, that is. So here we are to the present time. We're going to start here in October, because wait a minute, it's August now. So what I meant is we're going to start in September. So going to look for September. One of the things that we've changed is we've modified our payment policy. And then once you get on this page, you can just click here if you want to download the policy yourself. Where it says watch more videos, you can click on watch more videos, and it'll open you up to a video where I've actually already pre-recorded everything. And as you can see, it's already playing. Right now it only has 9 views, so it looks like a lot of people just like to read, which is fine too. But you can read or you can watch. We'll also go over the practice schedule, and then I'll show you how to join Track My Speed, and that's only 1, 2, and 3, and then I'll open up for Q&A. Well, let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen to the payment policy. Oh, also keep in mind, don't be afraid to throw in questions in the Q&A. It says Q&A, and you just click on that, and you can ask all the questions you want. My goal is to answer as many questions as possible before. I mean, that's what these webinars are for. So I'm going here. All right, so this is the payment policy. I just want to take a look at something here for a moment. Bear with me. Where'd it go? Wait a minute. All right, here we go. All right, so with the payment policy, and if you've been on Track My Speed before, if you're already a current member of Track My Speed, if you've been here for like more than like a year, you might have seen this. But if you just joined over the summer, you haven't seen anything like this yet for Track My Speed. So the first bar is just talking about the seasonal breakdown, and the second section here is about the late fee, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. And then the piece that needs your attention is the third section here, where it gives the due dates. So, like for example, the next payment is due on the 28th, which is in 4 days. So the seasons are different now. Last year, in 2017, we had a 3-month season, so it was actually November, December, and January were all combined. But now September is just a single month, and then October and November is combined, and then December and January is combined. High school season is off for Illinois, but high school season is on for Indiana. And then June and July, the seasons are combined. Now for the second session is the late fee. It's 25 bucks. And the way we're setting everything up is when we design our workouts, we're going to be using like Google Docs. And so on that Monday, it's going to take me 3 days to program everyone's workouts and have them up and running on Google Docs sheets. So that way everyone can see who's doing what. And then also we have to submit a roster to our CrossFit gyms and say, okay, here's how many people we have in the gym. That will also we may have to reduce our rent for the gym, or we may have to increase our rent for the gym. So the payments are always due 1 week before the start of the actual season, and that week gives Kendall and I a week to make adjustments, before we get started. So if you join within that week, it's just a 25 bucks, just a little something for. Because now we have to take time to go in. Here, I should probably say, here, let me stop sharing my screen for a moment. And I believe, Kendall, you're still on here. Both Kendall and I took full-time jobs. So now we have less time to deliver all of the services that we have delivered in the past. So now that Kendall and I both are working full-time jobs, which is 40 to 50 hours a week. I mean, every parent in this webinar understands what a full-time job is. But now let's just say I have 40 to 60 hours a week less to focus on Track My Speed. So this season we're doing less, we're providing less for Track My Speed just because we physically can't handle it. And then we don't want to overextend ourselves, which was an issue that occurred like this summer. Is I know for sure myself, I overextended myself. So going forward, that also plays into why things are a bit different. So going back to the payment policy. So yeah, just spend some time with the chart. Read it by the columns is the best way to understand it. But so October, wait a minute. August 28th is the first payment, and that's just 200 bucks. And then the next payment is September 24th, and that's $400. But September 24th, that covers October and November. So you take 350 plus 50, that's $400. And then during the high school season, if I'm available, I know Kendall may be available, he may not be available. If we do one-on-one or we do small groups, here are the rates, and we put that also on a payment policy too. We keep everything in one place. So, and those are expensive, so I don't recommend them. What I do recommend is join and track my speed as soon as possible and take advantage of every training section. Don't miss any. Get faster, get stronger, try to attend as many track meets as possible so that when you do reach a high school season, the goal is for you to be independent during that time. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to provide something. I'll be able to meet with one athlete, maybe two athletes, or show up to some track meets, but I can't commit to that. So those rates are there. They are expensive because now I'm not accepting payments from a group of athletes. A team of athletes. I'm only accepting payments for that one athlete for those 2 hours. If you don't understand a chart, I did type it out. So the payment due dates. See, the first one says is due Sunday, August 28th, and then what is covered, and then so on as far as September 24th. The team rates are non-refundable, and the group rates they are non-refundable, but there are more. You get a little bit more flexibility with them. So, like, if you want to cancel, that's something that we will have to talk about. But if you do cancel, you don't get a refund. But then to track my speed were to cancel, if I were to cancel a one-on-one or group session, you can get a full refund if we were to cancel. But just go ahead and read those details and ask me any questions if you have them. As far as payment, it's the same as the summer. Let's see who's in here. Yeah, so we don't have any new people in here. So yeah, so the payment's the same as the summer. No cash, no checks. Don't send me anything through the mail. I don't even check my mail. Chase Quick Pay is recommended. PayPal. What I did was I chose to use, I added on 2 more online banking things, and that's Square Cash. You can download that app, and then also, is it Vimo or Vamo? Venmo. All right, Venmo. I know how to read. Okay, Venmo, and then this is something new, but I don't recommend it because I recommend the Chase Quick Pay and all the others. Is money orders. You can get money orders from a Western Union. You can get money orders from a Walmart. That's doable. And then also, if you don't feel comfortable with any of these things or putting your information online, you can also turn your cash into a Visa just by going to any Walmart in person, purchasing one of those Visa cards. And then you just load it with cash, and you can use it to pay entry fees or pay a PayPal online. So that's another option for you too. A couple of regulations here, and then there is a parent and guardian signature, and of course that's my lovely signature. And that's just about it. So does anyone have any questions? Take a moment. Any questions? It should be pretty much straightforward, but I guess we're asking for any questions or concerns. I do know Tiara paid for last month, so you've actually been credited for this month. So you can actually log in and see everything. And then who else is in here? All right, so we're gonna keep it moving. So yeah, you can ask a question about the payment policy. I'll come back to it. As far as the competition schedule. Let me make sure I'm staying on the outline. All right, so practice. So, oops, wrong schedule. So when we take a look at, all right, so we've already covered number 1, so now we just got number 2 and number 3 left. So we're going to take a look at the practice schedule and locations. And that is here. All right. So when you click on events, and as of right now, Kindle hasn't sent me his schedule just yet. But as you can see, that the schedule for Lyle is already up for this month. So for the month of September, there is no Sterling, Illinois, and there's no Champaign, Illinois. Either one of those 2 locations will start in October. I haven't decided yet. And then in September, Carmel is the only location, and then I believe in October, Kindle may add on a second location, but we're not sure just yet. Something different is just a simple change is I just put the address as the actual title of the location. If you don't know how to get here, you just click on events at the top corner. And I know a lot of people already know, but because this is recorded, if someone new were to see this, I want to be able to show them too. And that right now, because we're in the month of August, it doesn't show any practices. What you just have to do is just click on September, and it'll bring you to September. Once September is loaded, you can see that there's a practice at 5105 Chase Avenue, Downers Grove. You can click on that, and then that'll take you into the actual practice where you can get more detail. You can click on this to open it into Google Drive. You can use a Google Map if you would like. So, and that's the practice schedule. So that's pretty much straightforward. And then how to join. So I'll go ahead and allow me to log off. So I'll log off. So, or I'll stay logged in because it looks like we do have some people logged in. So if you were to go to your membership icon and then hover over it, you'll get a menu that pops up. What you want to do is you want to click on membership accounts or membership account, and then it'll bring you to this page, and it'll show you all your past invoices and transactions. But what you want to focus on is this little piece right in here. It says view all membership options. You can click on that option there, and then it says, preseason training, select your level. You can select, it costs $200. It says I already have it, so and that's how you do it if you're already logged in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out. Now, and then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just click on account information. And then, or I'll click register, and it'll bring me to the site. And I just select it, but now I'll get a different option. Now it'll give me a chance to create a username and password, and then I click PayPal, and then I'll log in, and I just pursue. So yeah, so make sure you guys take a look at that. So let me get out of here. I gotta log back in. Log in. Boom. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe that covers You're muted. Unmute. Wait, can you guys hear me now? All right, here we go. So what you can see is in September, you can see how your training evolves, to a stronger human. But if you were to start later, you evolve it's not quite the same. You're not as strong, you're not as fast. So basically what this is telling you is you need to get started sooner than later. So just go ahead and make sure you pay attention to and make sure you take advantage of all those videos because it will help you, especially if you have questions. All right, so I'm just going to backtrack here. All right, so we don't have any questions as of right now. Oh, the practice schedule. Oh, the competition schedule. So I do want to go into the competition. Oh, I do have to go over those. All right, so let's take a look at the competition schedule. And then we'll keep going. So competition schedule. All right, so can't believe I almost skipped this part. Okay, so there are some new meets on the schedule, and then I also trimmed some meets down. And it looks like we're traveling quite a bit, but that's okay because I have a solution for that too. So we're going back to Canada. Last year was the first year we did not go to Canada. And then Indianapolis is still the same, but then I added on New York, New York. So, Staten Island, New York, for the Bishop, the games. Now, this is pretty cool because you see that we're not competing over the winter break. So everyone will have like that Christmas week off, and usually we compete over the New Year's Eve weekend, but we're not doing that. So we're only going to focus on these six track meets, and there's some pretty far away meets. You can also view this as a download, and as we get closer to the meets, I'll populate these areas as far as like the fees and the travel and the lodging. One of the things that we are doing this year that we didn't do last year is we added on a travel agent. So this summer it was Amber Jackson who worked with the travel, and over at Illinois everyone was pretty much on their own. So now with this next season coming up, what I'm doing is I'm going to submit this schedule to the travel agency. So if you don't want to travel as a family, but you want to travel with the team, what you'll do is you'll just contact the travel agency, and they'll set you up with travel plans and help you get to these meets, or they'll help you travel with the team. But as far as me, myself, Kendall, Amber, or any other member of Track My Speed, we're hands off as far as traveling to the meets. But what we are doing is providing a travel agency service that would do a better job than us, and they have more time to focus on those arrangements than we do. Texas A&M is the same. Arkansas is still the same. Youngstown is still the same. Now, during the high school season, it gets a bit tricky. So you want to make sure you go over the non-school competition guidelines. But what is a high school meet is University of Kentucky. We did that meet last year, so it shouldn't be an issue this year. And then, of course, our goal is to go to New York, New York. Now, there is one meet on the schedule that's not quite, that you don't see yet, and that's the meet to Australia. And this is, as of right now, I'm just giving you a preview of what to expect in the future. But we did put a meet on a schedule for Australia. But then I also created a couple other programs built around it to help us save money, not only for Australia, but then also the meets that we have scheduled. Let me just find that link. Where did I put it? Where did I put you? Maybe a quick find. Right. All right. I'll share the screen over. Okay. All right. So what we're looking at right now is a meet that I found in Australia. It's the same as in Illinois. I mean, in the States. And this is something that we'll go over later in the season, like for the webinar that we'll have. And we'll have a webinar in November to talk about the competition schedule, but this is something that will come up. But if you want to look at this meet, I'll go ahead and drop it in your inbox. I don't want it into the chat room. Where's my chat go? Where'd you go, chat? But it is February 23rd through the 24th. I mean, through the 25th, and this is a meet that we can go to. So if you're interested in this meet, you can start looking into it, and then just hit me up with it, and I'll send you details as I receive the details. But I will drop it into the chat room. All right, so there is a link to that website. Also, one of the last things that I want to touch on, and then I believe that would cover everything, is let me mute myself. All right, so two more things I promise. Is the athlete agreement. So the reason there is an athlete agreement is we had an incident this summer with one of our athletes from Champaign, and the actions that I took and actions that she took turned into legal matters. And then so now Track My Speed is represented by John. Well, I've been working with John for a while. That's John. But now they're pretty much taking over Track My Speed right now in this legal consulting firm. And so far, we have to have all of our coaches. Last summer, all of the coaches were under subcontractor agreement, but now our athletes have to go under agreement. But it's more so to protect myself, protect the coaches, but then also to protect Track My Speed. So I'm going to touch on that. And then it is posted on the actual site. And you can download a draft, but this will have to be signed. The athlete will have to agree to this before we actually can start training. Otherwise, I can't train. So right here, we'll dive over there now. So I'll just touch on some of the most important things here. So when you're looking at it's an athlete agreement, and this is a draft. And all right, so trade secrets. So this athlete agreement is a trade secret. So like any Track My Speed, we use a lot of formulas, which is why we're called Track My Speed. Everything that we do as far as like the emails and our workouts, there's a pattern, there's always a process. And we use a lot of systems, we use a lot of methods. So what we want to do now is start protecting our trade secrets. So that means if we have an athlete that's being trained by Track My Speed and they decide to go to another team, they can't, you will not be allowed to share our workouts, the formulas, any emails or anything like that. You can't share that with another coach. That goes into non-disclosure. So basically what all this stuff is saying is, here, look, there's trade secrets again. Basically the non-disclosure form is basically saying everything stays in-house with Track My Speed. And if you want to share information outside of Track My Speed, you have to get my permission. If you want to share it with your high school coach or another coach, family members are fine. But this just protects the business as far as Track My Speed is concerned. So no information is being shared that's given out, like for example, like this webinar, or even this contract agreement itself can't be shared. All right, this is one that I like, is the non-competition. USATF already has us implemented for USATF, but now we're implementing it for Track My Speed. So basically, this is saying if an athlete were to be terminated from track my speed or quit or decides to take a break from track my speed, they cannot compete for another club team for a year after they leave, quit, or be terminated. Now, for everyone that's new, if you haven't trained for track my speed, you get 1 month before entering this agreement, but you've already been trained by track my speed. You're good to go. The last thing is the no conflict. So basically what the no conflict is saying is that while you're being trained by Track My Speed or Track My Speed representative, looking into like another club team or causing any issues with that would be as if like a conflict of interest with like a high school coach or with another club team or with another athlete. So just make sure everyone has once you subscribe, everyone will have their own, each athlete will have their own athlete agreement for each parent to review, and you'll have a week to review and sign, and that's it. So that's a sensitive piece, but it's something that will protect Track My Speed and that will allow Track My Speed to grow in the future. All right, so the last thing that I want to share, and then I'll open everything up for. I know I keep saying the last thing, but I promise this is the last thing. Then I'll open it up for Q&A. Let's see here, Sheen Square, where are you? All right, so when you have some time, look into this. You also have this in your email. The business exchange is to briefly describe the business exchange. It is it's a program where the athletes will take on small projects for businesses in exchange for their travel expenses. So we go back to those track meets like New York and Arkansas and Texas. A business may give you a small job as far as answering the phones for a week, and you will work like anywhere from like 10 to 12 hours a week, and then in exchange they don't put you on payroll, but they'll make a reservations for you at a 3-night stay at the Holiday Inn and Suites, at College Station, and that's what you're working for. But if you like some more information on the business exchange, you can click on that video and it'll talk about the business exchange. And that's the last piece that I want to talk about to you guys about too. This webinar session here, we are doing a college prep program. The reason why that that Kendall and I had to cancel the college prep program is because we just don't have time. The full-time job that I took on, it starts at 5 p.m. and I'll be working until like 3 p.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. So it's 5 p.m. to 3 o'clock a.m. in the morning. Sometimes I get off at 11 p.m. Sometimes I get off at 12 p.m. So it depends. So if I'm not coaching Track My Speed on Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that means I'm working every other night. So it's 7 days a week for me. Well, 5 to 6. So I just don't have the time to actually do the things that we have done in the past. But I don't start work until this Sunday. So I believe I scheduled everything for this Saturday. I believe the webinar is Saturday. Is it on Saturday? The 27th. 27th. I think that's Saturday. See, now I'm confused. Oh no, the 27th is Sunday. Okay. So the 27th. So that's Sunday at 6 o'clock. I'm just gonna take 3 hours and we're just gonna knock it all out and we'll get everything started. And I'll walk everyone through the process on how it works and how we pick a college. And in fact, if we don't have any questions, I'll just go ahead and show you what I did with one of the athletes, Ariel Summit from Urbana. She's actually the furthest into the program. Um, but yeah, so I'll go ahead and end the webinar. But if you want to stay on and ask questions about anything I have discussed, that's fine. I'm just going to give a brief insight of what the college prep program looked like and what I've already started with one of the athletes. Just give me a second. I just got to log on to my Google account. And this is what we'll be working on like this Sunday, starting at 6 o'clock. What is that? Okay, here we go. Boom, boom, Zoom. All right, here we go. Screen share. All right, so here, how many seniors do we have in here? There's Avro, Tierra's a junior, Peyton's in here, Kendall's in here, Karen's in here, and Madison's in here. All right, so this is what we're looking at. So basically, it's a pretty extensive sheet. So like this is the master. So like this is how we would rank and put all of our informations about the schools. And as you can see, Ariel Summit, as of right now, her #1 school is LSU. Her #2 school is Texas A&M, UC Berkeley. Yeah, look at that, Karen. She has 2 schools in her 2 California schools in her top 5 already. No, 3. Stanford. So like her #1, 3, and 4 are all in California. Sounds like someone wants to go West Coast, which makes sense because she runs an 800-meter dash. Texas A&M, Michigan, Yale, Harvard, MIT, Brown, Baylor. So basically there's a process. So there's questionnaire, then there's email, then there's a phone conversation, then unofficial visit, then the visit, and then everything from here on out is just a funnel. But at the bottom of the funnel, let's say, for example, for UCLA, it's this questionnaire. She either marked completed, in progress, pending, or answered. Okay, so like, okay, she did a questionnaire. So she'll mark that as complete. And then for her email, it says pending. So she hasn't sent the email to the University of UCLA yet. She hasn't placed a phone call. There has been no unofficial visit, and she hasn't went on an official visit. So right away, I get to see everyone that's in this shared document gets to see how much was done. But so far, let's see, she has 2, 24, 23. So far, she has completed, okay, 1, 2. She's completed 19 questionnaires. And she's emailed 1, 2. She's emailed 12. And then she's been on the phone with, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So she's been on the phone with 7 coaches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and she has 5 phone calls in place to certain colleges. And she's been invited unofficially to Texas A&M. She has something pending with MIT. She has something pending with Washington University. And she has, ooh, look at that, Baylor. And then she has something pending with Baylor. As far as an official visit, she has Michigan pending, and then Yale. She has Yale. So right now she's talking to 2 schools as far as an official visit. So this is how we categorize. I can't say that word. Categorize, filter our schools. And then here is just we do everything by we rank the schools. So we'll rank the schools by biology, engineering, research, and then they get a total amount of points. The school with the least amount of points as far as the rankings, it gets ranked. So if I were to go smallest to largest, actually MIT it has the best academic school that she would be interested in. But if we want to add in, now we look at, okay, their cross country program, their track program, track rankings. She wants to add in, a triathlon, the top female triathlons, and they also get like a total point system. So if you look at, who has the best athletic program that she's been recruiting, is UCLA. That also has an academic program. So overall, we come up with the total points, and we say, okay, what's the best school for her to go to? Once we apply that filter, after asking all these questions, you still get UCLA. But then now you get Stanford and Texas A&M, Michigan, Baylor, Penn, and so on. So this is how the the college prep program. I help everyone fill all these things out. Now the questionnaire, as you can see, how is Ariel Summit able to complete so many questionnaires? She's completed so many, right? Well, what I have her do, and this is something that we're going to work on, is once you do a questionnaire, you basically add those questions on a spreadsheet. So now we have the question and we have the answers. So if you want to know something about Ariel Summit, please list any research jobs or interns. Well, here they are. Here's her whole list. So now Ariel Summit can do this, fill out a questionnaire. I can fill out a questionnaire for her. A friend can fill out a questionnaire for her, because all we're going to do is edit, copy, paste. And then every time we run into a new question that's not on this Excel spreadsheet, we just add the question in just in case we see it again. So now we can complete all of these questionnaires by edit, copy, paste, edit, copy, paste. But while we were visiting, when we run into colleges, the college coaches, they have to do their due diligence by making sure that the athletes have actually filled out a questionnaire to make sure they were interested. So if they were not interested, then, the questionnaire is the first step. And you can even see some of the questions that they're asking are very important. In this case, you can see here, let me share the screen for you again, and why these questionnaires are important. Where'd you go? Oh, here it is. All right, we got 6 minutes, people. You can see here they wanted the ACT, math, reading, science, writing. If you took the SAT test score, all of them. English. Look at that, she scored 35 on her ACT. So yeah. Oh, then another thing that we do as well is we look at, we come up with some questions. Now it took Ariel, and now these are questions for Ariel, and it took us about maybe 2 hours to come up with 10 questions. But she started with 30 questions. So not only did she have 30 questions, we had to make sure that we're asking the questions the right way. For an example, question 3, what are your standards for substantial, partial, and a walk-on? That's an important question. How many of how much of my scholarship is expected, from academics, and how much is expected from athletics. So like these are some really, important questions. But here's a question that while you're being recruited, you don't want to ask a question while giving away your answer, because then the college coaches are just going to tell you what you want to hear so that they can get you on campus, right? So, here's number two. How many 800-meter runners are you recruiting that runs a sub 12, right? So before Ariel met with me, she didn't have an answer to that question. But then her question didn't say how many athletes are you recruiting sub 12. Her question was, are you recruiting 30 athletes that run 213? So they're going to say what they're going to tell you what you want to hear, because they just told you exactly what you just told them what you want to hear. So it's important that we come up with a list of questions and that you ask to every coach. And then you ask the questions, but you also want to answer your own questions so that you can grade them according to your answer. So the answer to Ariel's question for her is she will feel comfortable with 3 athletes being recruited under sub 12 with her. So these are some kind of questions. These are some ways. There's a there's a there's a there's no such thing as a bad question. But if you want to get the most bang for your buck, you got to know how to play the game. You got to come at this like you some kind of like salesman or an attorney or whatever, because these coaches will roll over you if they see an opportunity to take advantage of you. But going forward, we'll cover more of that on Sunday the 27th, and then I'll get you started, and then it'll be up to the family to just keep it going after that point. But I feel 3 hours will be enough. We'll dedicate 1 hour to set up, half an hour to set up, the Google Sheets, and then we'll dedicate another. I'll show you next 30 minutes on how to select your schools academically, and then how to select the schools athletically, and then we'll go from there. But it'd take 3 hours. We do it all at once, and then at that point, the athletes just have to come, continue the process on their own. Just because we just don't. I know I won't have the time. I'm sure I'll have some times, and I'll be available for questions. Kendall will be available for questions. But we had to take on full-time jobs to keep Track My Speed what it is. We didn't want Track My Speed to turn into like a monsters team. We don't deliver that kind of service. So yeah. So any Q&A, we have any questions if people are still here. We don't have very many people in right now. But if you do have questions, ask them now. It'd be pretty cool. So I'm actually going to go ahead and mute the webinar right now, but I'll stay on in case people have questions. But I'm going to go ahead and mute it, but just know we're on mute. And then you can type your question in, and then if I see a question pop up, I'll just unmute and I'll answer. Cool. Hey, I forgot. This webinar was brought to you by Truffles, Girl Scout cookies. Yum. Let me stop.